You're about to hear the recorded audio diaries of Michael Swaim, Adam Ganzer, and Abe Epperson, transmitted to you from another dimension through the wonder of podcast technology. Lost in the multiverse, they have to dig into a different piece of multiversal fiction each episode, in the hopes of finally discovering a way back to their reality. How do they know this isn't their reality? Because one of them is being a real asshole. Will our heroes ever make it home, or will they inadvertently explore our obsession with multiverses, alternate timelines, and parallel worlds, and tie it all into a conversation about postmodern art, pop culture, and what it means to be a human right now? This is Escape from the Multicurse.
Did I tell you, and this is not even a bit, there was a fire in the apartment across the street from me last week?
I buy it.
You mentioned this to me, and you said you watched the fire and cackled.
It's
while
not
a family cried.
It's not even really a bit. I'm talking like there was a minute there where I thought the entire neighborhood was going to burn to the ground because it was a massive fire. And I was fine.
Well, I mean, I bet you got that trauma response though. That's never pleasant. Or were you like, it's okay if this burns down, let it all go?
I wasn't. I didn't feel that way. It was like literally a week or so after you left my place, Mike. Like, it's right across the street, and it like, I just learned a lot about emergency responses and stuff. There's like 10 fire trucks here in minutes. I was just like, oh wow, they're very good at their job.
If you live in a dense area, yeah.
I was very impressed.
You can't win them all, is what I say.
Are you meaning you set the fire and you were hoping it would spread more?
Are you admitting to arson right up top? Up top,
you try your best, but Adam lives on.
Admit to arson.
You set the fire to the wrong building.
Yeah. You live there. Oh, I thought you lived there. Okay.
Well, shit.
All right. Well, there's always next time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to court and everything.
And
it's
neither
gonna
of us learns anything from that.
Crazy.
Court from the quick and the dead.
Wham, 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 wham. Going to court. Ruining my life on a podcast.
I really enjoy this. This is a train wreck of a bit.
Wait, is that the asshole bit? Is that he just
I don't even know.
Podcast
I have
and
no
it never
idea.
goes?
I don't
know, everyone. I guess I'll QB this.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. We're messing it all up.
You know,
please do.
This is Escape from the Multicurse. I'm Michael Swaim. I'm here with Adam Ganzer and Abe Epperson, and we're going to be talking about The Lake House. 2006 is The Lake House, as we talk about movies with time loops, alternate dimensions, multiple dimensions, etc. And I'm already hogging the mic more than we usually do on this show, so I'll stop.
Not at all.
Lake House, guys. I guess I only want to say two things, if I may, real quick. As I said, I would cede the mic.
The hoggery continues.
That's right.
Please,
right. One, I think appropriate to watching The Lake House. Right before we started recording, my fiber supplements that I need to take so I don't get more anal abscesses arrived in the mail.
Oh, great.
Seems like a very I'm going to watch Lake House thing to me.
2006's Lake House.
That's right.
That's what I was thinking.
And then B, I just want the audience to know that in the rotation, I proposed this movie. But I was like, let's do a bad movie week. So I also proposed like Jetsons Meet the Flintstones, Super Mario Brothers movie, Lake House, and we landed on Lake House. Now I won't talk for a long time.
That's okay.
And you'll be
I liked
happy.
what you said.
We usually vote on it. We vote on
who talks. And
we
what
vote on what movie we record each time.
Yeah.
And this time, inscrutably, we chose The Lake House.
I'm gonna tell you why I voted Lake House. I'm happy to come clean right now. I'm not watching that Mario Brothers movie again. I am not watching it.
I've
had
it again.
I've just had it.
Yeah, how many times?
I've had it with that
lifetime.
I've seen it more than 3.
You know why?
I'm tired of it.
It's the line of work. Pop culture work involves.
Exactly.
That's one of the hits you take is you watch the Super Mario Brothers movie more than you want to.
Also, being friends with Dave, it's like seeped into my life more than I wanted it to.
You also think about Batman more than you frankly want to.
Yes, way more. Yes.
I'm just Batman's fine.
Do you do a lot of stuff out of spite? Like, I don't want any of these motherfuckers to take pleasure in it, so I won't
of
do
what
it.
I do in podcasting is spite.
Sure, sure.
Over a majority. It's like
I kind of love it, you know?
Yeah.
We killed a lot of time being extra hilarious, so I'm going to say let's do the multi-map now.
Oh, sure.
That's where each of us talks about, well, we interpret it differently. So, Adam, you want to go first and describe what the lake house means to you vis-a-vis the multiverse idea that we seem to be stuck in?
With you guys.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Right.
We're all assholes
Out of
this time.
spite, I say, I enjoyed the lake house.
Wouldn't that be amazing? That's my take. Is Lake House is good. No. Okay. So the Lake House. Briefly, I bet a lot of people haven't seen this movie. Just like I want to give you like a brief logline.
I have
of it.
not.
Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves are two people who are living in the same house but at different times, like 2 years apart, and fall in love vis-a-vis a magic mailbox correspondence. That
should have been called the mailbox, frankly.
Yeah.
The mailbox is actually the nexus of magic.
It should have, 100%. And then, like, are struggling to find a way to be together with the 2-year time difference, and various pieces of their lives come into more clear relief as they get to know each other because they've actually been interacting for 2 years, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
long distance relationship, but time instead of space.
But time distance, right? Time distance relationship.
Wow.
So, I have a lot of opinions about the movie, and I suspect this episode we're going to talk about the movie more than the larger concept. I will say this movie was successful at bringing some elements of multiverse, like the underlying desire for multiverse stuff, to light, I think, because it exposed a lot of cracks in the foundation of the concept of the multiverse. One of them is that really for a multiverse to be what we want it to be, it has to be all times are happening at the same time. Like that's kind of narratively necessary for us to do a multiverse thing, is not only are all possibilities happening, but also all times are happening. So
and they proceed at the same pace, and they're like yoked together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, again, this sort of reinforces the theory I've been gently espousing for however long we've been doing this podcast. The multiverse is essentially a narrative eternity. Like that's what it is, and we end up having to make eternity the way we perceive the multiverse for it to be a useful exercise. And that means we have to break the rules that normally set up the intrigue of a multiverse. And we always do it. Every single time we do it.
You're right.
Because we're not interested in the multiverse concept as a thought experiment. We're only interested in it in this, as a stand-in for eternity. All things being perceived from outside of time.
That's as far as our tiny brains can really conceive anyway.
So correct. And I really think that's what multiverse is about. It's about removing the supernatural pieces of that we've always included in our human brains for the last, 5,000 years, and just examining it on its own sort of merits. And it becomes stupid and silly that way. I think there's a reason that there's always been a mythic element to eternity. And I think this movie shows us that. I'm not going to get super religious and preachy about it, but I'll point out things as they pop up because I think that's important. The move. That's it. That's enough. These are short takes, so that's my take.
And I'm done. That's time on me.
Yeah.
I'll shut up now. Okay, I'll volunteer to go next.
Great.
Which, if you go back over the course of the show, kind of telegraphs who the asshole is each episode. If you understand
give away
comedic
our tricks.
patterns, that's right. But anyway. It's me for revealing that. I'm that magician on Fox who used to just blow shit up.
Love it.
I'll say I haven't seen this, and I thought it actually had an interesting Chris Nolan effect that I want to get into in terms of I thought it abused the multiverse formula in a way where I still have so many questions about the rules and the math, and it seems to Looper say don't care about that. And I'm like, the reason I bring up Chris Nolan is I think Dark Knight works, and I think this works, meaning, spoilers for the Lake House, when they reveal, which I suspected, but still, it worked, quote unquote, enough. Like the twist that, the reason he doesn't exist in her time is he's dead, and that's sad. I sat there with my arms folded and went, yeah, that's sad. Like, that's sad enough. Meaning, in the Chris Nolan way, it didn't matter that the time concept didn't work, but I do need to desperately unpack why it didn't work. I think we use the multiverse for a handful of reasons. One being that it is just what you get when you regurgitate postmodernism without thinking about it or structuring it too much. Is like, well, I exist in this period where art is, I know everything all at once. And I took art history class and I have thousands of years of art to choose from in different cultures. And I combine them at will because I'm terminally online or whatever. So in that context, I think you're bound to get a lot of multiverse stories. But then people start mining it, right? Because they're like, well, I want to say something, which is a good impulse. And people end up with stuff like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where they're like, multiverse as an empathy thing. Or, butterfly effect, multiverse as a chance to do it again. What is that? And in this case, it's as simple as love conquers all, multiverse style. Like, what we haven't done, the multiverse is the impediment to the people getting together before, so let's do that. So I think it's just a new milieu for the things we do for love, right? It's literally what this rant should have been 10 words long, which is it's a long distance relationship, but through time instead of space. That is what it is.
Perfect.
It's crazy because like I had teed up basically the same kind of concept. The only thing that I would really add to both of yours, because you hit the postmodernism, Michael, and Adam, I think you're right about eternity. I would just go on to say that it's about eternity is just merely the concept of chaos. Like I could even refine that through a sieve. I feel that's how humans perceive eternity, is they don't. And so all of our multiverse stories are essentially just finding the comfort in chaos, finding a tiny little cave that we can like sit in with a fire and with a friend and let all of the storm happen outside. We just need these little pockets of things that we can understand.
Or in the case of MCU, lying to yourself and saying, no, I'd control it, or like I'd make it fixed.
I think the way we're doing it suggests exactly the opposite. But continue. Please continue.
Like that's my only addition to your guys' rants. But I did want to bring up, did you guys read the behind the scenes trivia for this movie? Because it's insane.
No.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited about it.
I know. I'm just going to like...
coming in like
there
a hero.
Is something for everything you guys are going to say.
Oh,
it's
good.
just one of the most bizarre productions. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Did you know, like off the top, did you know that the movie was originally written for Jeff Bridges and Ellen DeGeneres? That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm
crazy.
surprised.
That's my favorite fact I've heard in a very long time.
No, I mean, it's just on the IMDb, but yeah.
I
continue.
know. I just love it. I love that.
I think we should just take this moment to open up to the verses and verses portion, where we're really just kind of chat the whole time, about basically what we've said, and also dip into the Lake House, a movie about a house.
Well, can I? Yeah, I'll say my spiciest take, even though it has a mailbox, which is very butterfly effect, a central mailbox. I'm saying vis-a-vis too much. More than once in an hour is too much with the vis-a-vis. We covered fucking Arrival. This is like Love Arrival. It really reminded, the maneuvers were like Arrival.
Arrival was Love Arrival.
But they're trying to get to each other and love each other.
But it has the same problem, right? Like, and I love that you brought that up, because Arrival is actually a clearer movie from a premise level.
Arrival's math works better, the time math.
I mean, it still has a problem because we're experiencing narrative in a story that isn't narrative. Arrival is fundamentally getting rid of narrative.
Right.
Can you unpack that?
So narrative, again, how do I say this? Narrative takes place in time. For there to be narrative, there must be time.
True.
Otherwise,
I'm with you so far.
So like Arrival is about the elimination of narrative, the elimination of time. right? They learn a language that frees them from time. That's the concept.
By the end, transcending. But the movie still has a narrative story.
That's the problem with it.
That's
why. That's the problem with it. Is that like Arrival has, that it still needs you to discover things in time that you would have known all along if you were actually free of time. Right. It can only be paradoxical. Like you have to hand wave stuff. That's the only way it can even exist. Right, because it's impossible to be done that way. We're bridging an impossible thing. Arrival has a better excuse for it, but it still has that moment where they clearly learn a thing they should have already known. This movie has a really egregious version of that, where Sandra Bullock intervenes at the end to save Keanu Reeves' life when he died in her arms at the beginning of the movie, and the movie sort of withheld that information from us. Which
so it turns out
something, you know.
I mean, it's I think a double plot hole. It turns out they can alter the timeline, which has all these ramifications that they don't get into at all, because why would they? It's just to get the couple together. But then B, that completely opens the question of, they do all this maneuvering. There's a 2-year gap between the times that they're experiencing, and they serendipitously are in each other's friend groups, rented the same lake house, have the same dog because it ran away from Keanu and showed up. Although you notice there's like a 5-month gap in between. What did that naughty dog get up to in the woods by himself?
That's just walking back, walking back to the lake house.
It's a separate movie. But there's this heavy serendipity element, or just living in the same demographic in the same area element, where it's like they were destined to meet. They see each other in person, but don't know it's the other person, etc. And my question is, and I hope I'm not the only one who was asking this poundingly the whole time, which is like, how do you not? There's so many ways you could arrange to meet up now, or
absolutely.
The thing they do at the end, they could do at any time, and it takes them 2 years in real time or movie time that we perceive for him to go, or her to go, you know what? Instead of getting hit by that bus, meet me here at this time. And it's like, you just now thought of that. Okay. I'm not again, missing something.
No. For the narrative to work, they have to discover that he was hit by a bus at the end. Right. That's the problem with it.
Right.
Is that
he was dressed in one outfit the whole movie.
Exactly.
And the dude hit by the bus is wearing his character's uniform. So you're like,
it's a huge
that's
problem.
Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
It's a huge problem. It's
a huge problem.
It's not the only
problem. It's a
problem.
big problem. Boy, howdy.
Is it a big problem? Yeah. It's it's just one of those things where at least Arrival has the excuse of, we have to filter the story into narrative for us to comprehend it. So like you're willing to go with it a bit more. I think the lake house sets up a situation and then very quickly is like, fuck it. Like, they're having conversations by writing in a notepad. Fuck it.
Right. And
in
then,
this way, it's how does that work?
To me, it was jarring when it's like, so he puts a response in the mailbox and then quote unquote in real time. I don't even know what that means in this context.
They're having a conversation.
She's standing there
messaging.
in her time,
yes,
and the mailbox is like, a letter from him appears now, and she can respond in a letter. So, like you said, their timelines are triangulated in a way that can't be comprehended or explained.
It's impossible.
Why would that time map to that time? Yeah,
that's why
it's nothing.
It would have been better. I know this is like too complicated for 2006. If you were going to make this movie in 2024 with the same premise, it would just be a multiverse where two people are trying to bridge into the other person's multiverse.
They perceive each other through the multiverse. Yeah, right. Or
it would be way better.
I got to say, I just rewatched Annihilation this weekend with a friend who hadn't seen it. And a big theme that called out to me this time that I hadn't really meditated on as much before was the scene where Natalie Portman specifically talks about how all life ultimately descended from one single cell that was alone and became everything. So in that way, not to relitigate Annihilation, one of my favorite things to do, Oscar Isaacs and Natalie Portman are the same person. Or like literally when he says, am I you or you me? It's an appeal to we are all one thing in a really, truly physical evolutionary sense, or we were at one time. And I guess what I'm getting at is my hot take, and the reason I mentioned Christopher Nolan is this doesn't not work for me. Am I crazy? It was like totally a serviceable rom-com.
Yeah,
meaning the emotional beats go in the right order. I knew it was going to be that he was dead, but when it happened, I went, yeah, that's sad that he died. And then when they made it fixed, I was like, oh, they're going to kiss good. And then they didn't even do tongue. Right. And I've been watching a lot of Love Island, and the tongue stuff grosses me out. So I'm like, they did a good, respectable 2006 kissing scene. Yeah.
Well, this is way long ago, but you were talking about the death scene. Did you know that Reeves did about 90% of his stunts?
Counting or not counting the death scene? That's
the death scene? Yeah, he got hit by a real bus.
And he trained with real housing developers to perfect their movements.
Did you act like a housing developer?
There is that one long shot where they walk, and it's like, man, that's a really authentic walk that he has. He really walks authentically.
I gotta say, speaking of Love Island culture and just culture right now, I hate the phrase "let's go."
It's too much.
It's a lot with the "let's go," and I never use it. And yet, for some reason, when he arrived at the end and like love wins over time and logic, and I saw that Keanu's in a fucking brown cable knit turtleneck, let's go. Let's go. It got me out of my chair, dude.
Did it? Nice.
And then I just also
started stomping around the room.
I did think it was interesting how aggressively he like went for like mouth first, lips first kiss. I feel like if I fell in love with someone through time, I would go with a hearty hug first. What do you fellas think?
Ooh, good question.
A hearty hug.
It depends on who they are.
I mean, sometimes you just feel the kiss.
I guess it's fully, you can feel that chemical thing in the air or not and take those cues. Sure.
Also, Joss Whedon rewrote parts of the script and credited. Like a lot of the dialogue he wrote, which is crazy.
That makes sense.
What a time, right? What a time.
What a time indeed. I do have some thoughts about the rom-dram of it all. I wouldn't call this much of a comedy.
I guess it's not he sips soup and then he looks at the snow and then he sneezes like he's going to be sick. And you go, oh, you didn't think there'd be snow, but there is.
Yeah. Well, they have that weird ass zoom.
Straight face.
They have that silly fucking zoom there.
That is an attempt to have a funny scene. And it fucking sucks.
It just sucks.
Yeah, I don't like the camera work in this movie.
She plays chess with a dog, and the dog knows how to play chess.
Yeah, I know.
Can we address this?
Yeah, it's not funny enough to justify how silly it is. Like I kept thinking of,
please.
I kept thinking that like another movie that's basically like this and works better is You've Got Mail. You've Got Mail is
because internet is like taking away time.
No, it's really more that these are two people who are falling in love by correspondence.
It's just a distance relationship correspondence.
Yeah, you're right.
It could be pen pals.
We're
You Got Mail?
obsessed with the idea because of Jane Austen of people falling in love through letters.
Right.
That's like not seeing each other but falling in love by learning the person.
Sorrows of Young Werther for me.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see that rom-com. The point being that like I think that idea is very appealing to us because it removes all the sexual chemistry stuff that most romance movies are based on.
Right.
You know, and also it sort of harkens back to what is consistent about love across eras, which is another eternal idea. And you know, so this is a construct.
2 years difference.
Well, but 2 years is impossible if they're not synchronous, you know.
I guess I'm just saying I feel like if you were going to do that story that love persists across time, you'd do like Elizabethan time and modern day.
Actually, that would be a fucking awesome movie. Like somebody falling in love.
The modern day person has to figure out how the fuck to write Elizabethan. Yeah,
that would be really interesting. I would love to see that movie if it could be done well. I don't know, but it would be interesting.
I feel like it has been done.
Has it? What movie is that concept?
Wasn't there a movie where a lady falls in love with a dude who's from Elizabethan times, and then the internet at the time pointed out that technically they're related if you follow the facts of the movie.
Man, that bums
That's
me
all
out.
I remember about it because that's what
that
a comedy
isn't the plot
writer
inside the
know.
movie. Because I think that's like a plot.
They had to change it or re-edit it.
I mean, there's a lot of movies where a person travels forward in time and you fall in love with somebody out of time. Like
a commenter will know.
about
Encino
time.
Man or whatever, you know.
Has a time
That's right.
traveler.
It's Encino Man, the porn parody of Encino Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the body count in the lake house has been verified at 14.
Wait,
Oh,
explain
great.
yourself. Oh,
I'm going to get back to my point, but I want to hear your
On
thing.
camera, 14 people
On camera.
died.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That bus, they did a lot of takes of that bus
Well,
thing, apparently.
Keanu has to cull the other ones until he has the Highlander power of love.
Michael Bay was actually meant to direct the movie, but Fox turned him down.
Meant to.
Well, he was like really into it, and they were like looking
like,
for
nah,
someone.
Well, you know how there's two.
They were looking for someone with more feature experience.
There's two notable. Sorry to take your bit, but like I'm on the IMDb page now, and
Yep.
there's two notable Nick Drake tracks. I'm a huge Nick Drake fan. On the soundtrack,
Pink Moon.
he was originally going to do the whole soundtrack, but according to IMDb trivia, when he read the script, he killed himself.
That's terrible.
Lake House.
That's a terrible
Hashtag Lake
thing.
House.
Awful joke.
Genius.
That's a Nick
Once
Drake
in a
suicide
generation
joke.
musician.
So anyway,
asshole
getting
reveals himself.
getting away from this Jane Austen point, on a rom-com level, I don't think this is great casting. Now, I do like Keanu Reeves and I do like Sandra Bullock, and I don't hate their acting.
I like
here.
them both, and they're both fine in this. And actually, I thought Sandra. I thought Bullock was showing me shades that. I mean, she has shown range, but she has this like miscongeniality to me as like the platonic her as a main character in stuff type vibe. And this was a quieter, more vulnerable introvert type character. I thought she nailed it. She's
got a lot of sadness in her.
Yeah, she's got charisma.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm saying for a rom-com to work, or really any romance movie to work, you need to get the sense that, like, oh, this is the moment where they actually start falling for each other. Like, they're not there yet, but they need that moment. And this movie put so many obstacles that are like logistical ones in front of you that it was hard to believe that happening. Like, the way it was supposed to happen is they go on this walk together through the city, which violates the whole mailbox concept. So the whole time you're like, are they
But
actually talking?
that was fucking cute and romantic. If that's what you're here for, I'm just
Yeah.
It was
Like
kind of
when-
cute. I just
it
had
makes no
problems with it.
sense. The graffiti would not survive for 2
Right.
years and look
It
that
didn't make
fresh. That's
sense.
fine. But I'm
Yes.
just saying, for the fun and games of what this is, how can you show your love that you're falling for someone through time? The fact that he would plan a walking tour through the mail, and at the end there's graffiti he placed there that was like, this was such a lovely date, blah, blah, blah.
It's an
That's
idea
good.
that makes sense.
That's cute. Banking off of the thing that you presented. That's good.
Well, so it's an idea that makes
Yeah,
sense
sorry.
on a spreadsheet. And like a lot of things here.
That's why
it's
I like it.
Well, it's good. It's good conceptually. The problem is you don't get the actual chemistry of two people experiencing it together. And then when they are together, they're both pretty sad. Like, there's a lot of sadness between these two people, I would say.
Well, that's
You know?
because you mostly have to know them through the lens of their singleness. You're actually mostly seeing people who live lonely lives by themselves. Like, it's interesting. There's a scene where Bullock says to, I'm sorry that I can't land on Sandra or Sandra. Bullock says to a sick child, the child's like, maybe she'll, talking about a character on TV, doesn't matter. Maybe she'll get married, maybe she won't. Or like, my aunt was married and she decided to not be married. And she's looking, she says to be choosy and have high standards. And Sandra Bullock goes, or maybe she'll be so choosy, she'll live her whole life alone. And you're like, what is this? All right. She's like a powerhouse doctor. She could easily date people. Let's calm down on that. But they do both really telegraph, like, I'm a lonely single person living my lonely life so that they can, but my only counterpoint.
It's a lake house, baby.
Is, I do think there's something romantic about sight unseen or intellectual.
Yes.
Like, we romanticize the reverse of shallowness.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking of, at the risk of revealing how much trash I watch with Jen, Love is Blind is a big hit for this reason. What was that? Or Cold Mountain, right? Or any like Civil War, they fell in love through writing letters. It's a genre. It's a niche rom-com genre.
It's not even niche. It's again, it's Jane Austen. They nodded to the exact influence that
epistolary
that makes this interesting. Jane Austen is the best at this. Like, that's why we keep making her stuff.
She was one of the first of this.
But be that as it may, she's still like one of the best at it. Like, because
she's
we keep going
seminal
back to
and
her.
classic.
Right. And they've nodded at Persuasion, which is one of the novels that really doesn't get adapted much by her, but is a bit of a more mature take on love. And I think that's why this movie feels more sort of somber and serious, and why it doesn't deliver the fun that we expect. And this is why I kept bringing up, or was trying to bring up, You've Got Mail. So You've Got Mail has the same thing where they don't actually know each other, and they're getting to know each other.
But it's bubbly as a film.
And it's so much more fun. Yeah, and like there's feistiness between them, and
Depends
these two
what you
people.
want. This was sad and that one's
That's fun.
I'll
That's fun.
grant you that. But I don't mind sad, personally.
I don't either,
Sad
as long as
love.
I believe the romance. And that was my problem with it, is I don't think it quite
Eternal
worked.
Sunshine.
Yeah, that was a great movie that wasn't funny, you know?
Which one?
Eternal Sunshine.
Eternal Sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
That totally
I-
worked.
2 years.
Totally worked.
Yeah.
I did a big note I wrote in all caps is ultimately just didn't feel earned that they're soulmates who would like
Agreed.
immediately magnetically embrace and kiss.
That's
They're
the problem with it.
totally committed to each other through time, but it doesn't feel that earned. It's like they just chatted for a while via text message. Let's
and I
calm
really
down.
think
I
this
got
is-
that feeling too.
Well, I really think the reason is that your mind can't totally let go of the multiverse shit. And I keep saying multiverse shit, even though I know it's supposedly time travel, because there's no way time travel could work like that. It's
They're
working
living
like a
in
multiverse.
parallel. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It creates a web of realities regardless.
Exactly. And I think that problem actually stopped the movie from working, even though it was also the premise. It kept us from having the emotional connection we wanted between the two characters.
Mm.
You know, like they don't actually, and that's the thing about eternal concepts is like we still need to experience the narrative thing where we see the beginning and the end and feel satisfied in it, or else we don't care about it.
Mhm.
You know, and I think this movie was trying to sort of create a
Dude,
wormhole between the two.
I
spots.
disagree that it
ahead.
wasn't fun.
Go for it. Make your case.
Doesn't count if it's behind the scenes trivia though, because that's not. We need the fun in the movie. But you go ahead.
Behind the scenes. Yeah.
They like that whole lake house jump scene was crazy. Like a special lake house was used for the house jump scene specifically. It was modified so it could reach speeds of 70 miles an hour and had shock absorbers.
Yeah.
And they built like a safety cage for the house driver. They used actually like 12 different houses during the shooting of this movie.
This is what you meant by
Yeah,
chaos.
And the
When
lake
you
was
said
a
everything
road.
is
2
chaos.
for exterior shots, 2 that were blown up, 2 for
Two
interior
lake
shots,
houses blown up.
2 for action sequences and just like smashing windows and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
1 for the jump sequence, 1 that was modified so you could ride on 2 wheels during the sharp right turn
bit is
sequence.
so
I think
long.
you mean
One
two
that
lake
was
house
slightly
pylons.
raised so that a mechanic could fit underneath for the bomb disposal one,
Sure.
and then just 1 for the camera to be in the extension.
Right.
at
Well,
the
they're
front.
dancing to a Paul McCartney song. You're going to want some extra safety gear.
I kind of wish that
Yeah.
I wish that information had gone on for 5 more minutes.
By
I
the
wish
way,
that
it's
you'd gone
clicked
full
for
Andy
me.
Kaufman
For those
with it.
playing at home, I now fully understand the ins and outs.
Me too. It's a wonderful
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
and I
it's
really
a
like
good one.
it.
Very clever.
It's a thrilling.
Um,
It's thrilling. It's a real thrilling
It's
bit.
thrilling me.
Yeah.
So I really don't know where to go. So I'm
From
going to
that-
restart with a thing I
Yeah.
wanted to mention, which
Please
is that I think for example, I'll wait until it's streaming, but I probably will ultimately watch Joker 2, even though I think Joker 1's really stupid.
That's interesting.
Because Joaquin is interesting. It's honestly because I'm hot off the tail of hot on the heels of us just covering The Master. And I'm like, I just want to watch him be a skinny maniac. He's so good. And, but I know it will be bad. And so I call it, for personal reasons, like pulling a David Bell. So I decided to meet this movie where it's at and enjoy its like fun dumbness for what it is.
yeah.
And I was able to do that. But that doesn't mean I didn't note. The one thing that I'm like, I have to note this on the show is, did y'all notice when there's a back-to-back, there's a scene where Sandra Bullock drinks at a bar and says her character arc to her friend, I distance everyone. I keep everyone a distance.
Yes,
and
it
yet
was
the
amazing.
one man that I
Right.
can never meet because of the time portal is the one I love with my whole heart. And then in your head, you're like, but you could meet. But setting that aside, the very next scene is She writes him, this is amazing. I'm going to steal this for a thing, dude, but as a comedy trope. She writes him to tell him about her favorite book, which is a fake book, the plot of which is their exact situation, as an excuse to just lay it out for the audience. She goes, man, I'm reading this book. It's so good. It's about this couple. They meet, but the timing isn't right. They can't make the time work. Then they get a second chance, but they don't realize it's already too late when they get the second chance. Anyway,
it would be really funny if it was just a movie. Like I watched
this movie called The Boathouse.
Boathouse. Honestly, a straight up ripping on this movie parody of this movie would be a movie that I would love. Movie. I would be thrilled to see that.
To see a scary movie of the lake house, if it was funny,
just the lake house, not even a bunch of tropes. Just going really hard at the lake house. I'd be really excited about that. Yes, Abe, did you have a question?
Definitely a question.
Yeah, good.
Did you know that after the success of White Man Can't Jump, Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson were considered to play Alex Weiler in this movie, but they both turned it down. But then a year after, they both did a similar movie called Money Lake House.
Money Lake House. Didn't catch that one.
The Rolodex well enough to get that. Money
catch
speed?
that one.
Money boat? All right.
Money Lake House.
I'll figure it out later. Commenter will help me out.
That's what a thrilling fact. Man, you find the best facts, Abe.
Oh, also, once they realize that she can tell him about stuff that's going to happen in the future, and he can take he can make alternate choices that affect the timeline that she perceives, right? Like it affects her time. Shouldn't they do more good with that? Or couldn't you avert many, many disasters by just telling him like, what's up? Warn people about this.
Can I bundle these questions together with like a slightly
proactively tell people that this boxer was born female, identifies female, has fallopian tubes?
I love the timely comic.
So like, and I don't mean
from the headlines.
I don't want to derail what you're saying, but like, I'm kind of curious as an artist. So like, all those problems like sort of go under one category for me, and that category is the premise stops me from caring about the movie. Right? Like the writing flaws stop me from enjoying the movie. Right? And I'm just sort of curious to both of you, because you're both creators and like, write stuff. What could have been done to make me not care about these problems? Like how do you change the movie so that these problems, I'm like, who gives a fuck? It's fun. Because I did with Twisters. I thought, like, we just watched Twisters, Abe and I and Dave, right?
Yeah.
And Twisters has all kinds of problems.
You care about them.
Yeah, all kinds of problems. They're not as egregious as the Lake House, but there's a lot of them. And because Twisters is fun, I don't care. Like I leave the movie thinking that was successful, even with the problems. Like, how does this movie get to that point artistically, do you think? If you have to be
speaking of David Bell, I'll give you one tip. I was on mushrooms, so that helps. Also,
you were on mushrooms while watching the Lake House?
Among other things. I did other stuff.
That's pretty cool, dude.
It's pretty great for a 39-year-old man.
That's pretty sweet.
That's pretty great. To quote this movie, "Let me let you go." That Morgan's
Let's
hot.
Go.
No, I don't. I think there's a choice about it. Meaning, as I say, Dark Knight also has these plot problems, and I forgive it because I'm like, the ride. If you're feeling romantic and open to the feeling of romance,
Prestige.
I liked Prestige. What about Prestige?
Which film are you like? You specifically The Dark Knight?
There's sorry, it's just my cracked brain.
Or Memento?
There's a highly mimetic
the Nolan type.
There's a highly mimetic trope or like behind the scenes trivia thing about The Dark Knight, which is multiple stuff. Like the big one that comes to mind for me is there's a sequence where he drives the Batmobile under a bridge and it's day on one side and it's night when he comes out the other side. Because Christopher Nolan knows two things. One, Batman's fight will look cooler at night. And two, which is truly the mark of like a master, I think, I will get away with this. People won't notice that it's literally gone from day to night because of the speed. Because like we're going fast and there's distracting things. So that's what I'm referring to when I just say, if you ignore it, the romance beats, of it. You can get, I don't know, dude. I also have to admit, like, my mom and stepdad, and I love them both dearly, met via letters while he was deployed in the Navy. So there's like a romance too. And again, I watched Love is Blind and blah, blah, blah. So I guess I'm just saying, if you're coming from a place where you are romantically moved by, they love each other from afar without even... Like, if you buy the long-distance relationship thing is romantic, all the beats are there for that. It works for that.
Yeah, and I
they're
think
both good.
Apprentice actually stops us from caring about it. I agree with you.
Meaning it shouldn't even... Like, you think it would work better if it was just distance and they were in the same time period?
I think it would work better if...
It's the same problem.
Yeah, I don't know what would have made it work better, because I think it only gets made if it's a time traveling letters movie. Like, I get how it was creative enough that it deserves to exist on that level. But I do think the appeal of it is people do fall in love without meeting when they correspond. It happens, and like that's interesting to us.
I think there's an answer to your question, to be honest.
I'm ready.
We've seen several. Well, one of the films is, did you like the movie Her?
I loved Her. Yeah, Her was great.
So Her accomplishes that through montage and I think general charisma, which is, I'm not throwing shade at the two actors in the lake house, but like there is an interaction and there's a writing about their like inside the letters that is so unique and beautiful in Her that doesn't exist in the lake house. And they do it through montage. They do it through... It is not now letters to each other. It is now actually we are speaking to each other. It's a conversation now.
Yeah, they just start cutting back and forth to them talking out loud.
Yeah, and with Her,
they actually go on dates. I think that's one of the big problems with doing letters. Well,
dates.
Her is great because they keep finding ways to have more intimate experiences.
Right.
Like he takes her to the beach. They go, like, he's literally doing dating with his phone. And it's really great because you have all those experiences. So it's reinforcing the problem that this movie has, which is they don't have any dating ever. They never date. They can't, unless you break the formula. And then once you break the formula, and maybe this is my problem, I'm happy to acknowledge
you're
that.
saying that they need to date for the formula to work. So do you or do you not agree that it's acceptable to do a formula where people fall in love without meeting? And that's sort of the core of what we're saying, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what those movies do. Usually,
like, what's the point of them, or one that's worked on you?
One that's worked on me. And like usually those movies, it's like so like Pride and Prejudice is a pretty good example, right? Where like they have a really bad interpersonal connection to start the story, and then a series of correspondences sort of clarify their intentions. And those correspondences work. Like, they're interesting and they work. And then they but they keep having encounters. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the way we do it is that like the letters sort of explain what's going on, and the encounters create more confusion. And this movie...
That's how that one particularly works, because it's about like the start of a relationship. This is about it being a slam dunk all the way through, though.
Which is why we didn't care, I think.
Because there's some other conflict. We're out of time.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Also... Did you know that the prosthetic dummy head of Christopher Plummer in this movie was... when they watched it, was too realistic and looked so grotesque.
Oh yeah,
that they went with a rear shot instead of when he got beheaded in this movie.
Yeah, it's too gross. I agree, and it feels like Alex is almost irredeemable after beheading. his own father for no reason.
Yeah.
Like almost no reason. It's a weird scene.
But it's one of those Jaws gifts, right? It's a gift like Jaws where it's like it was a good change like for the
glad
story.
that exists. Yeah, and as a piece of film history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
really
also I just remembered, because I'm looking at the note, but have to call out that she this is probably my last thing bagging on the time travel, but it's so funny to me that she begs him, don't look for me, because it turns out I figured out to the second or like day or hour or minute at least, right, that on this day, on Valentine's Day, you tried to meet me and you saw me at a cafe and you crossed the street, and that's when you got hit by the bus and you died in my arms. So don't like seek me out. And wait 2 years and then meet me at the lake house. Here's what I don't understand. Could he not literally just wait 10 seconds till the bus passes and then cross the street and talk to her then? Like, would he get hit by the bus no matter what, no matter when? It's an all-day problem.
That's a fixed point in time. They didn't do a great job explaining that one.
Also, he like runs home suddenly because he gets an intuition there's a letter and like finds all the letters to get that message.
Dude, it's so
it was
good.
like, what?
He's like a dog that smells letters.
When he stands her up at the time date because he's dead, it turns out, the waitress sits her alone and says, good luck. And it's like, that's pretty fucking presumptuous.
That's onerous.
You know that I'm on a time date with a chance of being stood up? Like, fuck you, waiter.
Also, I might be dead in the other time.
Right. Good luck.
Good luck.
Are you watching
the
movie? Yeah, back off. Lady.
Are you watching the movie? Is a great way of encapsulating what's going on there with that character. That is how that character was written.
I'm surprised they didn't see. This is why I think Looper is the best with this dilemma, right? Like Looper also has the time talking to each other, 2 times talking to each other, and
also sexy.
Yeah, they do it through corpse carving, and I feel like there's just not enough of that in this movie, where they're just carving people's fingers and shit up, and it's like that's how you get messages across time.
Yeah,
you know,
we could have had more tattoos, etc.
Yeah, Adam wants this movie to end with them cutting up each other's body parts.
That's how you
burying them under the lake house.
I'm actually not being dismissive when I say I also think a good use of this, maybe the best one I can think of in terms of its emotional effect on me, is the Simpsons episode where Bart woos Krabappel by catfishing her through the mail. Because
that one's good.
That's actually skinning the idea through the idea of a really relatable, like loneliness, broken heart, being catfished and realizing this person doesn't deserve that. I've gone too far. Highly compelling emotional beats built around the same. And then I'd say the other recent touch point for me would be Clay and AD on Love is Blind. And I know you guys won't know that, but that'll be a relatable touch point for some listeners. Because, edge of my seat, baby. Clay, you played yourself.
That has the Simpsons episode has one of my favorite postscripts, which is sexually yours.
Woodrow Wilson, yeah.
Sexually yours.
While this was being shopped around Hollywood, it was nicknamed Die Hard in a Lake House.
That makes sense.
Fucking
easy,
what? Oh,
easy
I forgot for a second. What? Yeah. I
Easier
forgot
to
the
understand
filter
what it is.
through which to hear Abe's lines.
I think we're ready to close up the wormhole.
Maybe. Oh, wait. Yeah, but I just want to point out one more interchange from the script.
Oh, good.
Script beat, bad, line go down. Keanu talking to his brother. So what's going on, man? You're acting different. Do you have a girlfriend or something? Nah, man. I don't have any time for that. What does time have to do with it?
Yeah, dude, that one, I know.
Why
I rolled my
the
eyes
fuck
super
would
hard.
you ask me that way? That's a strange, weird thing to fix upon.
Are you watching the movie?
Are you watching the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you watching the movie?
Why do you mention time? Is there time?
I don't know, man.
I really enjoy movies where some producer got a hold of the script and is like, we really need to hammer this or they're not going to get it.
It was also I thought, late 90s heteronormative, if you have a radar for that sort of thing. She says, my dad had dreams of me becoming a doctor, and eventually they became my dreams too. And that's good. The movie's like, that's good. She fulfilled her doctor. And then she's like, maybe I should back off of work and just be in love. And the movie's like, that's good. That's a good move. Not that that's not a legitimate move, but there's other things. I'm not going to go on a woke diatribe about the lake house.
They didn't stick the landing with that trope. Like the trope was clearly telling us, oh, she shouldn't have accepted that.
The trope is that she's
really
put too many eggs in the career basket and she should have focused on love. Yeah.
But like, I don't think they proved that.
That's true for some people, I guess. Yeah, it can be true. It's fine.
But like every movie has to show you that, I think, for you to believe it. And the movie never really showed us that.
That was the other thing that felt unearned is their character arcs were literally established by them saying them out loud. Yes, they never showed the
hallmark of a bad script.
You weren't like, oh, I see how she is that way, or oh, I see how that is his problem. You're just taking it on their word that they're like, this is my deficiency. And then at the end, they're like, oh my God, you healed that thing I mentioned earlier as a deficiency. It's gone now. And you're like, but I didn't see that. I didn't see Goofus and Gallant go through any situations where I contrasted your behavior.
Exactly.
You know?
Timely reference. Yeah.
Goofus and Gallant.
Ripped from the headlines. Ripped from the highlights from children.
Goofus and Gallant.
I had one point I'd like to make.
Please.
Which is living in that house would be a hellscape. That house,
the house on
is number one. There's no walls. It's all glass.
They pointed out. They say there's no privacy there.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
I
like
think
then
it would
you have to think about
because it's shallow, stagnant water, and you're hovering above it all year.
Yes, that house is so undesirable in so many ways. It is atrocious. Like just nothing great about that house other than like it looks cool on camera. Nightmare.
I mean, you guys are slamming the like convenience of the script in
A House of Sand and Dog.
You haven't mentioned at all that if they stop sending the letters, the house explodes.
Right.
You haven't.
They did say that.
You haven't mentioned that.
This is completely unrelated, and I only mention it because it's bolded and I want to wrap out. But did you know that Keanu and Bullock were in another movie called Speed? I haven't seen it and I don't know anything about it. Abe, have you seen Speed?
That very forgettable movie made 20 years ago in 1994?
Yeah, I just want it on the record as canon, whether you've seen it.
I know what you're saying. You're confused. Keanu Reeves went back 12 years in time through a mailbox and shot a movie called Speed. That is true.
Okay, yeah.
What year do you think it is?
I don't know. All I know is he and Alex Winter are doing Waiting for Godot on Broadway. That's all I know.
I have not heard that. To me, it's 2014.
Oh no! What can we avert, Adam? We have a connection
from 2014.
Yeah,
there are lots of things. There's been lots.
I don't know. I'm pretty good
way.
with everything that's happened during that time span. I think we've been hitting dingers. I'll keep it as is.
It's been 10 wonderful years.
Yeah, we're poised for success. I mean, I bring Dana Carvey back as a cultural touchstone, but other than that,
you guys have flying cars, like some kind of really hyper, like cool car, like maybe like a truck, maybe even. Do you guys have anything cool like that?
Nah, we don't have that.
Adam's the real authority on that. So, let's close this shit up. This is called Closing the Wormhole Portal. Closing the portal?
Closing the wormhole.
Closing the wormhole. Thank you. And
I love that somebody doesn't remember a title of something every episode.
This is where we decide if we want the rules of this universe to be true. Essentially, would we keep our current reality? Hybridize the realities or abandon our current reality for this reality. I am going to completely close the portal and keep the current reality because although I do think it's interesting fodder for a story, and I can't remember the name, I think Abe might know it, but I did read a sci-fi series with this as the concept. But if you live in a universe where almost anyone could stumble upon a way to communicate with the recent past, and there's all these linkages through time, then you're going to end up with a time travel war. Like now you got a time war with people trying to constantly predate each other's decisions for personal benefit, which I do think is a great sci-fi concept if you can pull it off. I do not want to live in that reality. Too chaotic. Even if you fall in love with Keanu Reeves, which is a bonus.
You might be thinking of Scanner Darkly.
No, it was a series of books. I forget. It was it was pulpier than Dick. It was trashier.
The Tomorrow War.
That's adjacent. It was something else. Maybe the cold cat. Maybe the bug wars. Go ahead, Adam.
It's thoroughly baffling how every single person in this story accepts time travel without really. There's no eyebrows raised over that, and no curiosity about it.
I mean, they prove it. Like she.
Oh no,
she does
I
a
know.
test, and she's like, that proves that.
I know that,
travel.
but imagine if it was you or me or Abe or anyone you know, like that encounters a way to discuss things through time and realizes that's a fact. Like just the sort of deep, boring uncuriosity of these people is like silly.
Yeah,
and like
you're like, maybe I'll date this guy. I don't know.
He's the guy writing me, so
time is malleable.
Right, like
yeah, that's the thing with writing letters is like what happened, like what, like at the end when you finally meet, what if you're like, I don't like what I'm looking
at. Not enjoying it.
You look like Keanu Reeves, which is ugly to me, which I didn't know was possible, but it is for me.
I'm more of an Alexander guy.
You're Keanu Reeves.
I'm a Gilbert Gottfried fan myself.
He's like, the lake house.
Face, not voice.
The way I heard him, the way I heard it in my head, the way he talked, it was Gottfried all the way. No, I'm closing the wormhole on this because I don't like a world where a rich architect controls this much of people's lives and is this famous.
Damn.
That seems absurd to me.
Oh, we didn't even mention that they're all such cushy rich white people. Even he has like the allure of a construction worker.
That's straight Jane Austen.
Then you find out he fucking owns a series of condo developments. You're like, oh, okay, so you cosplay as the construction worker, but you're the suit, clearly.
Yeah, it's weird to me that he's rolling around in like an old 50s pickup and wearing hard hats and
building
shit.
condo developments that he owns. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not who this guy would be at all. Anyway. Closing the door on this. Also, it's a badly written universe, and I just need my universe to be written a bit better. So, those are my reasons.
Damn, scathing.
Abe, it's the end of your set. You need a banger now. Take us out with a banger.
Yeah, I was just gonna fuck you for just pointing out the comedy.
Lampshade this shit. I'm Deadpool.
No, I'm just gonna say clearly something is happening. You guys are, because I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. So I guess I'm gonna just stay here, but I will flip the red flag on this portal's mailbox and wait here, and hopefully one of you will fall in love with me.
Too late. Too late.
I'm gonna check my floorboards right now and see if I found Abe's letters.
Oh my god, dude! I forgot. By chance, she
that's the worst thing.
Gets mad and stomps on a floorboard. And the floorboard, if people haven't seen this or seen it in a long time, she gets mad and stomps on a floorboard. And under that floorboard is like essentially a note from him that's like, hey, love you, miss you. And it's like, how the fuck did he know that would happen?
And why did he do it?
Yeah, why
did he do that?
Did he
why
hide
is he
shit
burying
everywhere?
letters?
Right. Should she start punching holes in the wall and there's like chocolate everywhere?
And he didn't tell her. He didn't tell her. I'm like, I'm leaving you prizes.
That'd be funny if he just
in
kept
the
leaving
house.
His prizes.
I brought a dead cat in.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah. Did you ever find that puppy? No, that was that smell.
Oh,
well, don't look for it because it's not there.
Right.
Don't even look
it's
for
not there.
Adam and I need to roll on, so bye, Abe. I'm sorry to leave you here, but
yeah.
All right. Bye.
What a depressing ending.